Hi everybody, sorry I'm late there. It was my fault. I was fixing the wig. That's all. Just fixing the wig, gluing it. I was gluing it back on. But anyway, it's good to see you again from last Monday. Unfortunately, we haven't got Tony. Tony, the great artist, Mr. Anthony Brown. You see, he's not call me Tony. No, you get your full Sunday name, Anthony, when you come on. He might be looking in tonight. He wasn't feeling too good actually. So it's just me, and as Charlie Cairns says, only the lonely. I'm sitting on my own, only the lonely. He's great, isn't he? He's great. And as Tony Barton says, hello Frankie, hope all's well, mate, and a pint and a glass of scotch. Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Frank will be drunk. No mince pies though, because it's only it's August tomorrow, isn't it? August tomorrow. Evening, Frank. Hope you're well. A great singer. I've also always liked Stevie Winwood. Have you noticed the singing has never changed? Yeah, still as good, Mark. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yep. Yes, yes, yes. I have. Thank you, Mark. I just want to just say this to my sponsors. I just need to thank them, and it's Gap Painting Services. Fully time served lads, fully insured, 5-star customer ratings, customer references on request. So you've got everything there. They are the clean, tidy, everything is put back. If you needed a three-piece moved or whatever, during the painting or whatever you need painting, it's put back by great fellas. And they really are the smashing lads. Come in, make them a cup of tea, they're made up. And honestly, and if you're at OAP, there's a great discount. And especially as well for NHS workers, all discounts. And they are the great discounts, by the way. So if you've got anything that needs doing, spruced up, get these lads in on 07 986 286 357. That's 07 986 286, sorry, 286 357. And it'll always be there, by the way. It'll always be there. The little thing. And also, if you ever want a night out, on a Tuesday, go to this place, looking at the oldie. Live bands, singers, every Tuesday. It's starting at 8. And there's a happy hour bar prices, but even without the happy hour bar prices, it's dead reasonable. It really is. Very, very reasonable. So it's every Tuesday at 8. Great singers. You'd have a great time. Bring your mates along. Have a good night out with them. Not only that, but meet new friends as well. Because venue is the oldie. Just get up there, enjoy yourself Tuesday nights. And if you've got any friends, staying with you, because it's summer, bring them along. Have a great night. You really will. Honestly, it's really good. Anyway, it's back to that's a Steve. There you are. Look at that. You got me again. Hello, Frank, says Lee Brady. What's planned tonight? Love these podcasts. Thank you. There's a lot tonight. I think you'll enjoy the clips. What I'm going to talk about. Oh, what you'll be watching. And someone's just sent me Ciao Papa. I think that's how I'm seeing that. Ciao Papa. She's in Naples. I think she's in the airport now, waiting to come home. Great, isn't it? Even if Frank, did you say no sound? Can everybody hear me? No? Surely. I must, everyone would be saying, to be honest, Lynn, that there's no sound. Even if Frank, hope you're well, says Charlie Wood. Yes, Charlie, thank you. Thank you. Thank you about that. And as Mark Kiddish says, Frank, I changed that after you let me know about the stadium being a first purpose-built boxing stadium in the country. Yes. Guess I got that information from Liverpool Museum up here. That bad. Yeah. They should know the history, as you say, Mark. They should. Thank you. I can hear you fine, Frank. No problem with my sound at my end. Got the sound now, says Lynn Ellis. Thank you, Lynn. Yep, sound, says Tony Barton. What you got to say so now? I can hear loud and clear, Frank says. Edna Edwards. Thank you, Edna. Thank you. Evening all, I can hear you, says Elaine O'Callaghan. Isn't it funny how people, especially in Liverpool, they say Callaghan, and it's Callahan. O'Callaghan. It's a fine Irish name. How will you be here? Will that be yourself I'm talking to, Elaine? Elaine O'Callaghan. Evening, Frank, You Never Walk Alone by my mate, David Wested. And all the Westies. All the Westies. Hope you're well, David. Hope you're well. I haven't heard from you for a while. I haven't heard. Is this Vega coming to Liverpool or what? That's all I like. Vega. Someone said, do you mean no, never mind what they said. I say Vega. You know what I mean? No, Callahan. Oh, I thought there was an O there. Oh, Callahan. See, there's an O there. Callahan. That's what I said. Callahan. Oh, Callahan. Anyway, you know that I stream. I was saying to Jason before. I go on streams, you know, and I put comments up. You know, this is all about totally different from what I do. Oh, this is good. I've got to see this. I'll let you know tomorrow. Thank you, David. Thank you so much. Because I'm doing my football podcast tomorrow, as you know. Elaine. Listen to this. Yes, there's an O, but I pronounce it O'Callaghan. That's what I said before, O'Callaghan. Elaine, put your hearing aid in. Anyway, can I carry on? Yeah, it was, you know, these people from all over the world, and I go on this podcast, and he's a great fella, this fella. He's an ex-judge, and I went on his podcast, and he has great guests on. Anyway, I said, hello from Liverpool, and I got two trolls. One from Manchester, and the other from Rochester, down south. And they came out with abuse because I'm from Liverpool. One fella from the fella from Manchester said the Scousers go into houses and remove furniture and other items of value. It's called burglary. What can you say? And the fella from Rochester, suppose never been to Liverpool in his life, said, I want me hubcaps back. No wonder we don't look in, we look out. No wonder, Scouse not English. Scouse not English. With people like this. And these people, this fella from Manchester, he's got a cheek. He's got a cheek. And I just said, I shouldn't say responded. I just said, oh, behave yourself, you meth. And this fella from Rochester said, what's a meth? I said, look in the mirror. You're looking at a meth. I shouldn't have responded. I shouldn't have done. But that's the way it is. I had to. Got the better of me. Evening, say Shane McGowan. Evening, Shane. Thank you for the point. Hopefully a date for the excuse me. Hopefully a date for the walking tour, approximately third week in August, Frank. Weather will not be rain then. Hoping the weather will not be rain. Yeah, no, brilliant. Just do that. And there was a lady who said, don't do it on a Thursday, and she'll come along. So she must want to go along on the tour. So just try make it for the try and make it for a Friday or even a weekend. Makes no difference to me. But it'll be better, a weekday. It really will. Where we're going, that is. Because it'll be good rather than the weekend. We got our way, Frank, with the Trent being vice. You certainly, yep, absolutely right. Absolutely right. We'll talk about that tomorrow night, Lee, on the poddy. As you always say, Frank, in Liverpool, we just get on with it and did it and built things. We were one with the first. Yeah, that's why we were first with a lot of things. We were. Absolutely, Mark. Good man. Good man. Edna Edwards says, I noticed on the BBC News tonight about the Isle of Man disaster. Presenter mentions once again the fire caused by 3 Liverpool lads smoking. Yes, yeah, and it's that sort of thing. Was a terrible disaster. It really was. But they can't just. It's always when the riots get mentioned, and it doesn't say the riots that started in Bristol. It doesn't mention that. It doesn't say about the riots in Tottenham when a Constable Blakelock had his head lopped off, beheaded. It doesn't say that. It always mentions the Toxteth riots. That didn't start here. We were the last, believe it or not. We were the last, but it's always the Toxteth riots. And that's what we lived through, unfortunately. That's what we lived through. I've got to answer Mark Preston here. What time is the podcast tomorrow? Says Mark Preston. Mark, it's 8 o'clock. We go out at 8 o'clock till 10. And if you subscribe, costs nothing, as you know, and like, you'll be able to put a comment up. And we discuss the comment that you put up. We actually discuss it, the panel. It'll be good. I've got a great panel tomorrow. I've got the author and journalist Marios Madzos on, and also George Scott, who was signed by Bill Shankly, and of course Tommy Batty. I just want to. Can I just go to something here? Yeah, listen to this. Just before I go, to this. I got called a racist because I pronounce Josko Gvardiol. Josko Gvardiol. I wish we got him. Charlie, I wish we got him. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about tomorrow, actually. There's a lot to talk about. I've just given the title to Jason as well for tomorrow. I just want to mention this, if I might. I just want to mention this. And it's Marios Manzos, and Marios is going to the Waterstones, and it's a book signing and in conversation with yours truly, Frank Carlyle, at Waterstones, Liverpool on Thursday, August the 17th at 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Not 6:30 in the morning, till 8 o'clock in the night. I'm not that good at Ken Dodd. I don't think anyone is, only Ken himself. So it starts at 6:30 in the evening and it carries on till 8 o'clock. And I know that some people will be there, as you know that. But you've got to get older tickets, unfortunately. You know, it's just goes down. And we'll be going out for a pint, definitely, afterwards. Should be good. And it's a great book, actually, because it's the social one, not the special one or the normal one, the social one. And as it says in the title, why Jurgen Klopp was a perfect fit for Liverpool. Because as you know, Jurgen Klopp is a good socialist, just like everyone else in this great city of ours. In this great city of ours. And Edna Edwards says, I can't get over that Charlie was. I got called a racist because I can't pronounce. That's a cracker, that. I love that. I got called a racist because I can't pronounce Josko Gvardiol. You're lucky you can spell it, never mind pronounce it. Oh, brilliant. Anniversary of the social club, killing 50 people. I know that. I know that. Remember that well. I was watching the news, watching the telly, and all of a sudden it came up. And it was a horrible disaster. It really was. I do feel, Frank, the BBC are one of the worst for being biased against Liverpool. Yes. BBC always mention Liverpool in a bad light. They hate us. I always remember when they were doing I forget what they were doing, a news report on. And I know it was about the Mersey. I do know about that. And where they filmed it, it was incredible. It was incredible. They filmed an old 50s block of tenements being demolished. Windows broken in, big holes in the roof. They were filming there. That was about the Mersey. It was shocking. I said, why did they film there? Why didn't they film at the Pierhead? It's ridiculous. That was a few years ago, mind you. I've only heard about the Toxteth riots in the past. What was it actually over, Frank, if you can give a brief explanation? It was over, everything involved politics. Everything involved politics. And it kicked off down in Bristol. Then it spread throughout the country. And it was just unbelievable. It was all political stuff, against Thatcher, against the Tory government and whatever. And every year, well, not every year, I should take that back. But every time the riots get mentioned, it's always Liverpool and the Toxteth riots for some reason. Nothing about PC Blakelock. Nothing about him. Nothing about him. What does Stephen Snape have to say? The denigration of Liverpool by the national media is nothing short of regurgitated diatribe, Frank. It's become a default setting that has little or no substantive evidence to corroborate it. This country has had social unrest for centuries, but Liverpool and its people have been vilified with no justification. Well, I think, Stephen, when I mentioned before, when I was on some stream, and it was a live stream, by the way, and it had nothing at all to do with anything like this or whatever. And I just mentioned, people from everywhere, from Italy, you were from Russia, you were from Germany, all over the place, all over the world. Latin America and everywhere, saying, hello from. One was from Buenos Aires, one was from Sao Paulo, Brazil. It was all over the place, put it that way. Canada, everywhere, Toronto and Canada. And when I said hello from Liverpool, England, that's when I got lambasted. I just don't believe. Horrible. Thank you for that wonderful comment, Stephen. Thank you. Frank, is the pub for a pint at the Sandon? But Frank, is the pub for a pint at the Sandon? No. We're going to Waterstones in town. Because it was Toxteth, there was labelled a race riot. Yes, says Charlie Wood. Absolutely. They brought it in as a race riot. As you know. They brought it in as a race riot. It's ridiculous. Am I right in thinking Michael Heseltine saved Liverpool, says Edna Howard, says Edna Edwards? To be honest, and at the time, Michael Heseltine, he came out of I'll never forget it. I was watching the news, and it was Thatcher, and our government, including Michael Heseltine, and he sold the Westland company to America. The Westland made helicopters, great helicopters, by the way, and she sold it off. And Heseltine was disgusted because he was telling it, do not sell it off to the Americans, do not. Anyway, he resigned. And because he resigned, Thatcher, thought him a naughty boy. So she demoted him to being the Minister of Merseyside. And he came up and he had a look around Liverpool, and he looked at the Albert Dock and he said, what's that there? And they said, oh, we're pulling it down. He said, oh, yeah. Said, yeah. No, there's nothing there. Look at it. And he said, no way you're pulling that down. Do you know the history behind that? That's what Heseltine said. And he saved the Albert Dock from being demolished. You'd have nothing. And look at the Albert Dock today. It was part of the Wales Heritage Site until that was taken away from us. Every time I think about that. So, yes, he didn't save Liverpool, to be honest. But he became the Minister of Merseyside, and he did save the Albert Dock. And a few other things as well. He never saved, but, he said, look, you've got to do something, for old buildings, that is. And he got funding and everything else. And That's what you might be thinking about the funding that he actually created to build up buildings, especially the likes of, he put a great word in for St. George's Hall. You see how that is today. You see how St. George's Hall is today. Looking forward to your clips tonight, Frank. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Alan Bleasdale made Liverpool. Everyone started asking for a job. Because a job. Like that. Like that. Oh, there he is. Look at this, man. Good evening to an incredible man. See you tomorrow on air. Marios Manzos. He'll be on the show tomorrow night. Well, the podcast. The Liverpool podcast. And that's the fella. I've got to put it up. Right, that's the fella. I don't know how to do it. Oh, no. There he is. That's the fella who's written this book, Marios. Marios Manzos. Book signing and in conversation with Frank Carlyle. There he is. Me and Marios having a chat. It'll be about his book, obviously. And it's a great book, by the way. Got a copy there. It's great. It's really good. He talks about Klopp. He talks about Liverpool. The team and that. So absolutely brilliant. If you're a football fan, get along there and buy a copy and he'll sign it. Marios will sign it. And someone asked before about what time it goes out on a series. Regular Tuesdays and Thursday, 8 p.m. Follow for specials, pre-match and instant reaction. And that means all you lot asking the questions and commenting. And the likes of Marios, George Kelly and Tommy Batty try to answer all the comments, whether we're right or whether we're wrong, because opinions matter. Opinions matter. Yahweh, I forgot about it tonight. I was reading something, because what I'm doing on Thursday for Channel 5, I've got to be there early morning before the crowds start coming out. Before the crowd starts, workers, that is. So I've got to film for Channel 5. But I don't know when it'll be aired, and I'll let you all know next Monday when it'll be aired. So you might see Frank on the telly, Channel 5. Right. I see St. George's Hall having an event of the floor again soon. Think it's a lot of money now to go in. Yes. And I wonder what King Charles would say. Oh, yes, it's fantastic, Frank. It's a wonderful floor, isn't it? Yeah, it is, Charles. It's great, isn't it? Look at that. Oh, yes. Do you fancy a cup of tea? Do you fancy a cup of tea? The situation's insoluble. I cannot just go and have a cup of tea. Oh, well, all right, then I'm going for one. As you all know. Lee Brady. I love it when you do the photos, Frank, that we have to guess. Well, wait till you see the one later on. Honestly, people, the clips will be showing are great. Honestly, the history clips, I think he'd be made up with them. I really do. I hope so, anyway. I hope so. I'm going to have a slurp of my tea, if you don't mind. Salute. What do you think about Francine Shell-Papa? She's great, isn't she? I love her. Stephen Snape says the European capital of culture helped Liverpool to get rid of the unsubstantiated stigma. A lot of European social fund money was poured into the area. The Europeans could see the heritage and architectural kudos that has been bestowed on Liverpool over the centuries. However, we believe that the indomitable, yes, spirit of the indigenous people of Merseyside that wouldn't accede to national political rhetoric. Yeah, I think that's that's an excellent comment, because we've always been, I think Mark Kinnish alluded to it, because we've never, throughout history, Liverpool has always said, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'll go back down too quickly. Throughout history, Liverpool have always said, well, we'll do this. And we just did it. Whatever it was, we just go back to 1301. And even before then, I believe it was done. I know it was this, it was the paved town. It was paved. We paved the town here in Liverpool. And it was the very first paved town in the whole of the country. You're talking 1301. It wasn't like paving, flags or whatever. But it was all these bricks and things left over from the castle and surrounding area. It was all this. And so they just laid them in the streets, in the 7 original streets of Liverpool. So they laid them out there. So people walking in mud when it rained or it snowed. And they'd be walking on like stone. It's as simple as that, without getting muddy feet. Don't forget it. The shoe wear then were like little bits of cloth, if you know what I mean. You're talking medieval times, even before medieval times, the Middle Ages, then medieval times. Yeah, St. George's Hall. I've started to charge for a tour. I bet there are so many places in there that we've never seen. Underground tunnels. I used to do it. They should have got to know me, mate. Because everyone who knows me have been all over St. George's Hall with me. I did a play there. I wrote a play, and it was called Echoes of the First World War. And it was actually performed in the tunnels. And it was very atmospheric, you see, because I had a sound man, and I said, I really want the decibels for booming. And people were frightened. The shells going off. They were actually frightened. Because as soon as we went from one and we went towards where we had the trenches, we walked in and the sound man just let it go. The shells, and people, wow, And it was, I always remember after one performance, an old gentleman, and he was in a wheelchair, and he said to me, "That was great what you did there." He said the special effects was absolutely wonderful, because I wanted them. And I said, why? He was in a wheelchair, this fella. He said, because my dad used to mention, his dad, who was in the First World War. He said, it wasn't so much like going over the top or anything like that. It was the constant barrage of shells blowing up in front of you, side you, back of you, he said. And it was great. He said, well done. He said, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. And, it's like a poem by Wilfred Owen, where it says, and the gas shells dropping softly behind. And the gas shells dropping softly behind. That's what it reminded me of when this man was talking about his dad. The shells were going behind and in front of him. on each side. So it's things like that, that resonates with people, especially when they see a play. Especially when they see a play. Especially one as brutal as the First World War. I was asked to do it again, a few times, but I couldn't be bothered, to be honest. But the script's still there, The script's still there. And I was going to do my play, wasn't I? A reflection of Dickens. Got the cast and everyone. COVID. I sure wish, Frank, you'd been able to do your events and ideas for the Capital of Culture in 2008. Would have been amazing. Yeah, I put forward a couple of things, but they never got done, to be honest. And I don't know why, because one of them, I mentioned it loads of times, I would have had people in Lime Street Station, down at the docks, down where the monument is. I would have had them all around, and I would have had things there, and people say like 18th and 17th century sailors down by the docks, Brunswick dock in particular. They would have been talking about, the trade going on at the time, like the slave trade or whatever, and how bad it was, the seafaring days then. They would have been explaining, historically. I would have had them at the pierhead, two sets of groups, First and Second World War sailors, and they would have been given out the history of mobilisation during the First and Second World War, but it would have also had lads dressed in the likes of Napoleonic stuff. But I know Napoleonic stuff because they went to the Peninsular Wars for the British, obviously. So they would have been dressed up in proper uniforms, then going over to the Peninsular Wars, as I said. They would have all been down at the pierhead. It would have had the Second World War lads, and they would have been talking about, dressed in uniform, they would have been talking about the events of the Second World War. I would have had the lads up at Lime Street Station with the Lion, the steam engine, that Lion, talking about the Lion, talking about the very first passenger railway system in the world from Manchester, from Liverpool to Manchester. From Liverpool to Manchester. And our Liverpool lads got the money together and built the railway. So, it's things like that. That's what was about a hologram of the castle on the site of Victoria's monument, because that's where the castle was. And there would have had people in the likes of the Middle Ages gear say what the castle was for, what functions it gave, things like that. But it wasn't to be. I would have got Liverpool University to get their students, I'm talking about drama students, to get dressed up, and also amateur dramatics as well, to get dressed up. Stephen Sleeve says, your football show was tremendous, Frank Carlyle. They'll even consider the opinions of loud-mouthed Woolly-backs. As yourself, Stephen. Loud-mouthed Woolly-backs. Brilliant. That's a cracker. Thank you, Stephen Sleeve. You do King Charles very good. Oh, yes, and yes. Thank you, thank you. I could be really, you never know. But I haven't got the big ears, have I? That's where Camilla hangs a coat when she comes in. And you hear a minute, Charles. Just my ears. Just hang it there. There's a very old friend. Hi, Frank. Are you going to have a walk on the Milton Towers of St. George's Hall tomorrow while they are uncovered? Have a good night. No, no. And if Prince Charles couldn't go on, I stopped him from going on. Then they had to put him on. That was great. That was mad. Absolutely mad. Mad. That was absolutely madness. No, I won't be going down. I wouldn't pay to go in, to be honest. I think it's wrong for people to be paying to see them. I really do. I really do. Charlie Wood says, if the Queen can have a cup of tea with Paddington, I'm sure the King could have a cup of tea with Frank Carlyle. Says Charlie Wood. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And you can even play St. George's Hall organ very well, can't you, Frank? Behave yourself. Did you see the outtakes on that? That was hilarious on the TV. I just couldn't get it right about the organ, the Willis organ. Couldn't get it. But I finally did when you see those, when you actually see the outtake of that. It was so funny. I even laughed. And because I don't look at them, as you know, but Tony Snell, but yeah, have a look at this. Should have put this up. I was laughing my head off. Willis organ. Lee Brady, go to Williamson's Tunnels, Mason Street, says Lynn Ellis. Yes. The tours I went on with you, Frank, at St. George's Hall were amazing. You took us all over, and the cells, yes. Gone too far. William Shakespeare walks into a pub and the landlady shouts, I'm not surviving you. You're bad. I'm not surviving you. Do you mean not serving you? You're bad. It was a bad joke, that. Yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do. One day I'll go in, says Lee Brady. I cannot. I just can't add it. I can't add it. I've got the all there and I can't add it. I just can't add it for some reason. Unfortunately. I wonder if it's here. No. Jason might do it if he's still looking. That's his thing. Yeah, there we are. Look at that. Look at that. And as you look at that, Charles was on the right-hand side by the big door in the middle. And there was other fellas on the opposite side. And he went to step on. I said, oh, you can't step on. Frank Richardson says you can't step on. And he went, oh. Anyway, these fellas on the opposite side. He went, no. So anyway, I just said, yeah, come on. Got and brought him in the middle. And I'd lost all my composure. I lost everything. I even forgot his name. Everything just went. Because you're not supposed to touch him, swear, or anything. And everything is picked up by a little tiny, like a little pin that dressmakers use with a little lead in my lapel. Oh, I was mad. Absolutely mad it was. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened there. Sorry there. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I lost my composure. It is everything wrong with the ad in this game. You'd rather see that than me. No, it's not there again. But anyway, you know, if you want to go and see it tomorrow, please do. And it is well worth a look. It'll surprise you, actually. In fact, I'm on someone videoed me, and I was given a talk about it in there. It's on YouTube somewhere. It's not one of my DVDs or anything. It's not one of my DVDs or anything. Let's see. Oh yeah, look, here I am. There's that. Isn't that fantastic, though? Isn't that utterly fantastic? And it's based on Emperor Caracalla steam bats in Rome. Because on the balconies, you see you actually see Roman arches. Emperor Caracalla actually was, his real name was Marcus Aurelius, but because there were two Marcus Aureliuses, he just pronounced himself Caracalla. Because Marcus Aurelius is one of my big heroes, to be honest. Marcus Aurelius, the other Marcus Aurelius, Caracalla, wasn't. He actually had one of his, I don't know whether he had one or two of his sons killed. Not quite so sure. Not quite so sure. But I didn't like him, you know. The other Marcus, the first Marcus Aurelius, was absolutely amazing. Amazing fellow. Frank, I wonder if Prince Charles remembers you. Well, he sent me a letter, didn't he? He actually sent me a letter, and I've lost that. Lost that through transition. Did you know, as you saw him mention? Oh, yes, I remember Frank very well. Yes, nice chap. Nice chap. I can imagine him. Something you mean, a nice chap, though. When you stand by Victoria Monument, where the castle was, you just think to yourself, when you look over the court building, you think that's where the pool would have been. Yes, you're right. Going into Paradise Street. Yeah, you're so right, man. Well done. On the subject of being outspoken as a city, says Stephen Snape, I personally believe it's a massive part of its appeal. Scousers question authority, so I reckon that it's a real haven for the likes of myself. Not subversive, more humanitarian with a loud voice. Jokes aside, though, it's a very easy city in which to be yourself. Totally agree with you. I totally agree with you, because what you have every weekend are hen and stag parties, because they love Liverpool. Stephen, they love Liverpool. They love coming to Liverpool. They just love it. And they always enjoy themselves, they say. I was talking to these, both sets, like, I was talking to these girls once, and I said, what made you come to Liverpool? And they said, we were recommended, so we were recommended. I said to the fellas, what made you come to Liverpool? They said exactly the same. You'd have a great time in Liverpool. The pubs are brilliant. The clubs are brilliant. The people are brilliant. You know, and that's why we're here. Always remember that. Always remember that. What those lads said. Frank, watched you on YouTube last night. The Beatles interviewed Ken Dodd. Frank watched on. Oh, I thought I watched you. As always, had me and Stitches laughing. Yes. Did Charles have the fox hat on? Yeah, the big one. All those tires are made by Mintons and Stoke-on-Trent. Every single one has travelled up the Trent and Mersey Canal. Yes. And doesn't it coincide, Stephen, with Trent today being told he's vice captain? Think about that. Good one. The Minton tiles are amazing in St. George's Hall. Yes. You doing any walking tours this week, says Neil Broderick? No, Neil. One's for in a few weeks' time. I think the last week in August, about 3 weeks' time. About 3 weeks. That's what I'll let you know anyway. Obviously, you'll know by coming on here. I'll be doing it. Tea time, Frank. Yes, I'm going to show a clip in a moment. Thank you. Time flew. Do you know what? That's being on your own. Just thought about that then. It's being on your own, on my own, and just talking to you. You know, putting your comments up. But I've flown over. Just go to these. Let's come. Lynn Ellis, Neil Broderick, third week in August. Yeah, Neil. Liverpool's biggest industry is tourism. It's self-explanatory, really. Yeah, another good point, Stephen. It really is. It really is a good point. Say, I'll give you the itinerary I'm going to do now. If anyone would like to come along, but you've got to get hold of Lynn. She organises all this. It's I'll tell you where we're going. We're starting off at the Catholic Cathedral. Then we go up to Abercrombie Square. I need to show a few things there. Then we go along Hope Street. Once we get there, we get onto the plateau of the Anglican Cathedral. And then from there, we go along Rodney Street. Then from Rodney Street, we go down Lacey Street by the bombed out church. Walk across to the Chinese Arch. And from there, we go straight down. In the meantime, you know, there will be a lunch or whatever. So we'll go down Duke Street. We end up at where do we end up? Campbell Square. From Campbell Square, we go through to the Strand, Shavas Park. Got to go there, Shavas Park. And then along the Strand. And from there, over towards the Albert Dock. But I'll be showing you an angle of the Albert Dock, which will, you know, it'll surprise you actually. You know, you think that you know the Albert Dock, but I show you a special angle because I showed both German TV and two different Japanese television companies and they were amazed. I even showed some physicists. I showed some physicists around Liverpool, 11 of them, and it was unbelievable. These physicists, and when I showed them, they went, "Wow!" You know, we just taken everything for granted. And I had a great time with them in the old Martins Bank building, because when I showed them something there, they couldn't believe it. And these are three of them were astrophysicists. They couldn't believe what they were actually looking at. The illusion, incredible. Ange wants to go on a walk. Most welcome. Ange, lovely woman. I think it would make more of our Beatles heritage. Remember the giants, imagine giant Beatles. You know what? I think that's a very good idea. It's a very good idea. Yes, she organises them very well, says Edna Edwards. She does actually. She's a nice lady, is our Lynn. That tour sounds brilliant, says Elaine O'Callaghan. Elaine O'Callaghan. Have I said it right, Elaine? Good idea, that, Neil. Okay, listen, I'm going to throw on a couple of clips now. So here's the clips. Hope you enjoyed them, and I'll see you after them.
From liver beds to super lamb bananas. Now there are newer residents here, but not everybody liked them. There was controversy. People were saying, half a lamb, half a banana, what's going on? Now they're part of our history simply because our people, the city of Liverpool, love them. In 100 years' time, we'll still be talking about the super lamb bananas, because they'll be part of our history and heritage. For every up, there's a downside in our history. So let's move on to our next villain, and it's happened on this very site. And this is it, Tower Building. But this is today's Tower Building, and what represents up there are the three towers that have stood there since 1301. And that's where Colonel Birch comes into the equation, because he was garrisoned and imprisoned in the first tower. So who was this Colonel Birch? Well, we have to go back to the English Civil War and the unusual tale of this man. Between May and June 1644, the Liverpool castle was garrisoned by Colonel Moore, a parliamentarian. And Prince Rupert came up to relieve the parliamentarians for the royalist cause. After 18 days of bloody battle, Prince Rupert finally broke through the strangleholds of Moore and his troops and took the castle. Moore fled along with his troops to the Isle of Man, and now the royalists garrisoned the castle. Most parliamentarians were imprisoned in the Tower Building, and one of them was Colonel Birch. Colonel Birch was taken from the Tower by the Earl of Derby, because there had been a long-standing feud between them. And he was taken, tied to the underneath of a hay cart, and he was dragged through the streets of Liverpool in one of the most humiliating ways man could endure. And it was through this that Birch always had a revengeful outlook. The Royalists didn't hold on to the castle that long, because in November 1644, the parliamentarians retook the castle. And this is where Colonel Birch, who was then made governor of Liverpool in 1648, he took revenge, but it wasn't against the Earl himself. It was against his two children, two young boys. And he had them brought down to where he was imprisoned by the Earl, to the Tower, where he made them crawl around on all fours and beg for food like dogs. They couldn't talk. They weren't allowed to talk, but only bark. It was there that those two young boys were held for 18 months, barking for food. To take revenge against children and humiliate them the way he did makes him a revengeful coward, one of the worst villains in Liverpool history. This is the Collegiate of Shaw Street, a very famous place of learning. Today, there are fancy apartments, but at least it's still here. And just around the corner from the Collegiate is its neighbour, SFX, St Francis Xavier School, and the two of them, the two wonderful buildings, are linked to our next hero. It's a funny place, Liverpool. You'll always find a place of tranquility, and this is Whiteley Gardens here on Shaw Street. Peace, birds singing, beautiful day. Now that's what George Gabriel Curie longed for in the trenches during the 1914-18 conflict. George Gabriel Curie, born Liverpool in 1896, and he was educated at St Francis Xavier School, Salisbury Street. Then at Stonyhurst College, Ribble Valley. Now, he was an apprentice in the cotton trades in the Albany in Old Hall Street. And when war broke out on the 4th of August 1914, he was commissioned into the Pioneer Corps as a second lieutenant. The Pioneers, what's the definition of the Pioneers? They never get the credit that they richly deserve. Now, what the Pioneers did, they actually repaired the roads. They went out into no man's land and dug the trenches for an advancement of the Allies, brought the ammunition up, even the barbed wire. The Pioneers' job was really hazardous because they came under immense fire continually. And on the 8th of August 1916, at a place known as Arrowhead Copse near Julemont, the Battle of the Somme was raging. Curie and his men advanced into no man's land under heavy enemy fire to dig trenches for the advancement of Allied troops. He completed his mission, but with heavy casualties and the wounding of a CO. He went out again into machine gun swept no man's land in order to bring back his wounded CO. In broad daylight, in full view of the enemy and extreme heavy fire, he brought back as commanding officer. This conspicuous gallantry earned Curie a Victoria Cross. He was promoted to full lieutenant from second lieutenant. He was transferred from his regiment to the Royal Flying Corps as a pilot and promoted to captain. So what happened to George Gabriel Curie? Well, he survived the war. He came back to Liverpool and he wanted to go back into his own cotton business in Old Hall Street, but unfortunately that had collapsed. So he had no job. So what did he do to provide for his family? He opens a chippy called the Chip Pan around the corner from St Francis Saviour's School, his old school, Brunswick Road. And there he was, happy as Larry, serving his customers with his fish and chips. Then the Second World War broke out and he enlisted yet again. And what did he do? He actually landed on the 6th of June 1944, D-Day. What a survivor this man was. Survived the First World War, the Second World War, and finally he did get his call. And in 1956 he died, and he's buried at St Peter's and Paul, Crosby.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Great man. Great man. And an evil man as well, Colonel Birch. Whoppers, aren't they? Aye. Colonel Birch, aren't they? See little kids barking like dogs, not allowed to talk. And there you have one other lad who went out, won a Victoria Cross. And funny enough, he used to have his Victoria Cross just hanging up where he was cooking the chips and fish and whatever. And kids used to go, "What's that for? What's the medal for, mate?" I used to just tell. Used to tell him, very modest man. And imagine, surviving also the D-Day landings, Normandy Beach. He was at Juno Beach, by the way, Juno. And he survived it. What a man. What a man. Elaine O'Callaghan says, "I love the lamb bananas." Well done, Elaine. And she says, "Sorry, I have to go. Good night, all." Good night. Elaine, I'll tell you, I said good night. Elaine. Lovely Elaine. Brilliant, says Lynn Ellis. "We have so many beautiful parks and gardens," says Edna Edwards. Yes. Yes, we certainly do. We have more parks, we have more green spaces than anywhere else, with the exception of London, than anywhere else in the country. If you didn't know that, well, you know now. Great stuff, Frank. And what did Mark say? "Frank, I'm so glad you saved the collegiate." Thank you, Mark. Yes. Because they were going to pull the collegiate down. And people don't realise the history behind the collegiate. Mad. Mad people. Very interesting, Frank, says Edna Edwards. Thank you, Edna. Karen Carrier. "Thanks for the memories, Frank. Love hearing the stories of our great people." Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Honestly, thank you so much. Hope Steve's well. And they are great stories, aren't they? They are. Especially the likes of George Gabriel Curie. Snapey says, "It's because my grandfather was an Arsenal fan I became a Liverpool fan." Long story, but William Reginald Snape earned 2 medals for bravery. There you go. There you go. Your granddad. Your granddad. In wars. Brave. Brilliant video that. My dad actually, I never mentioned this, but he was an officer in the Royal New Zealand Navy, and he was a SBS, Special Boat Service, like the SAS. They went underwater, not on land, like the SAS. And he used to blow up submarines, German ones, that is, and also battleships. My dad. What is it? Frank, have you noticed with the Everton area, as our house was going up the hill, but many years before that was rural with gardens, it's kind of gone back to the parkway, hasn't it? Yes, it has. It has. It has, Mark. Could shout that actually. Because what you're talking about, the Everton area, people used to go on sojourns, the likes of Wordsworth and Coleridge and Dorothy. Wordsworth used to come down to Everton and just walk around, because there was villas, there was mansions, there was everything there. Everything. And they used to go and see a fella, I forget his name, writer. He wrote, what does he write? He wrote the English Opium Eater. The English Opium Eater. He's got a funny old name, by the way. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. But that's what he used to do anyway. That's what they used to come down and visit the Everton area, because, as I said, it was sort of a resort. It really was. The Everton area. Really beautiful. Where St. George's Church is. Confessions of an English Opium Eater. That's what it was called. His name will come to me in a moment. I'm sure it will. I'm going to show you the picture now. And I want you to guess where it is. Okay? You got to guess. If you don't get it, well, I'll tell you where it is. Where's that? Where is that? Lynn Ellis. M&S building. I think Stephen was getting mixed up there. The King's 16th and 5th Artillery, Sergeant Major, my granddad, still kept a service revolver right up to his 10th in 1979. He said it was for shooting pigeons on his allotments. Absolutely brilliant. Charlie Wood. Thomas de Quincey, yes. I was testing you so long. Thomas de Quincey, right? He was, in fact, his mate was a fella by the name of John Cragg. John Cragg. And John Cragg was the Mersey Iron Foundry founder. He owned the Mersey Iron Company. And when they decided to build a church, because all these rich people said, "Now, listen, we've got to build a church for ourselves. You know, we don't want the riffraff." So he said, "Okay." So they sent for Thomas Rickman. So Thomas Rickman came and he designed this church, St. George's, which is still there today. And he said, and they were in De Quincy's house, John Cragg, De Quincy, and Rickman. And he said, how would you like to come in and, you know, help me to build this building? He said, how can I help? Mine. He said, I want you to build the infrastructure to make it more solid because it's very windy up here on the hill. So he said, yeah, okay. So he went in and he put, you know, all this ironwork in to make it more solid. And what had happened was it became the very first stone iron infrastructure building in the entire world, believe it or not. And what the Wales wanted, they wanted, when they were building buildings, not just churches, but buildings, they wanted iron, but they wanted iron encased in stone. So they said, okay, but the council at the time, or what you call the council at the time, they said, hey, you're not smelting any iron at the pierhead. Bring it somewhere else. So he went down to Garston. And you had how you got the name, or how the Garston people got the name, the Mudmen of Garston, because what they used to do, they used to bring out, that's where around St. Michael's, that's where they smelted the iron. And the Garstonians used to just bring it out to the ships that was in, because they couldn't dock anywhere. So they used to bring them out. And that's how they became the Mudmen of Garston. By bringing out these things encased, just bringing it along on, you know, little bits of boat and whatever, wood, whatever, to the ships, for the cargo to bring all over the place. And that's how they got. Yeah, Lee Brady got it, didn't he? TJ Hughes building, London Road. Well done. Well done, mate. Well done, Lee. London Road says, Edna, yes, you're right there. And it was it's a cracking building, isn't it, really? It's only a guess, Frank, but I think it's the Western Hotel, Lime Street. Do you know why, Mark? That's a good shout. I'm going to tell you why. Because I've always said that no matter what profession you're in, you'd always get inspiration from other, you know, in your profession's work. And Sir Alfred's Waterhouse's big hotel, the Western, that's where he got his inspiration from. Samuel Thomas, who built it. He was the Cane Brewery's architect. So that's where he got that. So well done, Mark. And the lovely Karen Kariakou says, I brought our two-year 6 classes into Liverpool. They are aged 11. I took them to the Western Approaches and St. Nick's. I mentioned the castle. We visited the Anglican Cathedral and St. James's Gardens. I have told them in short what you have told me. These kids are from Skemmelsdale. I think some amazing comments from these children, one of whom says how much he loved the cathedral and the story of the spring water and Kitty. Oh my God. I was overwhelmed, and that's thanks to you, Frank. Thank you, Karen. I really appreciate that wonderful comment. I really do. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we should be learning. I'm made up that you're learning the kids about Liverpool history, to be honest. And there's nothing better, is there? Nothing better than to tell them and watch them in awe. Wow. Is that right? You know, great. Yeah, I got it wrong. It's TJ Hughes' building, Mark, says Mark Kinnis. No worries, Mark, because technically you were nearly there. I nearly said that, Mark, says Edna Edmonds. Well, no matter what, is it all great. But you ever remember these? Look, TGA's, say, TGA's. Look at it. Isn't that brilliant? Look at that, TGA's. Now, he got Samuel Thomas, the architect, and he had to get permission of Kane Brewery to build, you know, that particular building. And as you can see at the top, it's very similar to the one. Let's go back. See there, you know, see how similar it is, the top. So he kept it in, you know, in the same vein, shall we say, as the old TGA building, TGA Hughes building. And it just became known as TGA's, didn't it? It just became known as TGA's. Everybody knew where it was. Everybody. And do you ever remember this? TGA Hughes, Children and Father Christmas and Pinky and Perky's Pop Parade, admission free. And I always remember, I was saying to Jason, I was sitting in my grandmother's and this little girl came in. She was only about 6 or 7. Oh, she's passed on now. Anyway, she came in and she was all excited. I said, where have you been? And she went, I've been to the grotto to see Pinky and Twirky. I said, hey, she said, Pinky and Twirky. Pinky and Twirky. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Honest to God, you know. And such arty time. Father Christmas arrives tomorrow to open Liverpool's most fantastic grotto, the Dancing Waters. There you go. Look at that. I shall arrive outside the store at 9:30 a.m. And everyone waited for Father Christmas. I even waited for Father Christmas. Because I finished work. Never went to work that day. Only joking. Absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Look at that. Do you remember the hand carts as well, selling the fruit and everything? That's taken from the 50s, that. And a beautiful picture. Just look at it. Do you ever remember Jay's as well, over the road? It was a furniture shop. Absolutely brilliant. Look at that. Absolutely amazing, that. Just love it. Look at the statue. And that's taken from the statue in Rome, Marcus Aurelius. But it's the statue of, it's an exact replica of Marcus Aurelius. But it's the head of George III. That statue. Just have a look at it. No stirrups, no nothing. And the myth surrounds on that, because there's a lot of myths. The myth surrounds on that is that the sculptor, George Westmacott, committed suicide because he forgot to put on stirrups. Wrong. Because there was no stirrups on Roman horses. They were all great horsemen. Stirrups came a long time afterwards to steady your feet and legs. So, and he lived to, he was 84 years of age, to Westmacott. So that myth was thrown out the window. But beautiful nevertheless. And there they are queuing up for a sale. Look at that, isn't that great? Cute. TGA's. And remember the bridge crossing over from one department store to the other. Just great. And now that's gone. It's just gone, unfortunately. That CGA's, particular CGA's. But at least we've still got this one. Still going strong. I think it's a cracking picture. It really is. It's a cracking picture. CGA's. Look at it. You don't see many department stores like that, do you? With the exception of Marks and Spencer's, which was, believe it or not, a hotel come department store. They reckon the first come department store and hotel was in Paris. It wasn't, it was here. We opened 6 months before the Parisian one. I forget the name of the Parisian one. Listen to this. Hi Frank, Chris from Hull, the Yorkie Scouser. The Yorkie Scouser. You will be a great school teacher. I was a lecturer, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. I've seen your name before, Chris. I've seen your name on streams. I must admit, I've seen your name. And if you're still listening, can I ask you where? What was it? Jamie Phillips? Was it Jamie Phillips? I just don't know if it was. But let me know, please. Please. Please let me know. Edna Edwards, magical it was, the grotto. Yes, it was. And I remember going there, and you know, when you went in and got your presents, and my present was got home, opened it because Father Christmas gave you, and you couldn't wait to open it. And what it was like hooks coming from a board, and you know, with numbers, if you know what I mean, and little rings, and you threw the rings, so you added them up who won. And I always seemed to win. Some reason, don't know why. Like, I was only playing myself, but anyway, it was just great memories. And I was only about 19 at the time. Really good. David Aday's Christmas grottos and imagination. Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Remember the big group of ducks? The Beatles. Charlie Wood. The Beatles. I think someone got that, you know, from someone must have said, have you heard the new song by the Beatles? You know, they must have got that from somewhere like that. The Beatles. Oh, fantastic. That's just lovely. Love the photo outside CGAU's of the markets. Yes. TGA's is moving from London Road, I read somewhere. Most probably are. Most probably are. And as Chris Adair said, hi Frank, Chris from all the Yorkie Scouser. You will be a great school teacher. Thank you. Thank you. Love the old market outside. Yes, shame there's so many have gone now. Yes. Yes. It's very derelict up there now, I believe. But it's becoming alive again. Where did I go the other day? I went somewhere, and I was coming down. I was in a car, and I was coming down London Road. It's not going up, coming down where it'd been. And I said to the driver, my mate, Steve Garnett, I said, have a look at that up there. And what it was it was on the corner of Seymour Street, this building, massive building, and it used to be a bank, unfortunately. It used to be a bank. And there was a big tree growing. Have a look if you're ever passing it, a big tree growing out of the side of, at the top. And it's shocking the way it's just left. Surely the council must do something about it. It's had flowers on, and you might think I'm exaggerating by saying a big tree. It is a big tree. Have a look at it. If you're ever passing, let me know. That's like the Liverpool Duck song, says Lynn Ellen. The Beatles. Oh yeah, there's Chris Dilly. Damn Dilly. You're very welcome. I'm friends with Craig Farraher and Neil Macmillan, both being stewards at Anfield. Oh yeah, both being stewards at Anfield. I visit the city every match in September. Got my family pick on the Champions Ball, and in September I'm off with my lad to stay in Shankly as a dad memorial made in memory of my late grandson Ezra. Oh, I've got his name on the back of last season's home shirt. Oh, that's lovely, that, Chris. That's fantastic, mate. Well done, mate. Well done. That's lovely, that. Sad but lovely. Well done. It's a juxtaposition, isn't it, between sadness and also, dare I say, happiness, because he had, Ezra, just because of Ezra. Lovely. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. Paula at the 12th man knows me, and so does Danny at 23 Anfield Road, Frank. I know your name, I know your name. I really do. I really do. You must go on streams or something. I've seen your name somewhere. Karen Kariakou says, I'm going to get the town, and I have a wander down London Road, not been there for years. Well, ages, yeah. Yeah. Do you want to see me again? Did you miss me there, everyone? Red Frank says, yeah, do you know what? I've just seen that there. I sent you a friend request. Do you know what, Chris? I seen that, and I hardly go on Facey anymore. I do put posts up, but it's very rarely that I put posts up. It's mostly memories, like my little granddaughter. That's about it, or the Champions League final, or whatever it is. And I just put it up, it's a memory. And I seen your name, and that's where I seen it. That's why I said I know your name. I'll add you to it. I'll add you, Chris. Honestly, I will. I'll add you. Because I get hacked a hell of a lot of times. I really do. I get hacked constantly. Don't know why, these people want to hack me. But anyway, they do. And it's lovely. Yep. I'll have a look later on, and I'll add you. I'll add you. No problem. No problem. I'm in a lot of Liverpool groups too, Frank. Cheers, mate. No problem. You can be in this group with this lot. They're lovely people, by the way. It's the sponsor of our show. Even if Frank and our boy won the geez. Late on parade, that's fair. How was Italy, Frank? Our Francine went, not me. She's home tonight. I think she'll be home around now, to be honest, Andy. I'm off to Turkey on the 5th of September. Me and me mate, Tommy Batty. Me and Tommy. And we're doing a podcast. I think our Francine's doing the show as well. I'm not quite so sure. I don't think she could do the show. I think she'd be able to do the podcast. If you look at the very beginning, we've got everything good for you, Andy. Because that's everything up. I've everything about. Got painting service. Listen to this, well. You getting your teeth done in Turkey? No. Turkey teeth? No, I'm just going. I'm stressed to stressed out. I need a break. Andy Gamble said I was Italy. The last time I went to Italy was just before. That's where I've got to get onto the thing. Just a minute to our sponsor. I'm off to Turkey this week, mate. Ishmaela. Where are you off to, Ishmaela? It's a pity, Andy, you couldn't go then, or it's a pity we ain't going next week because of Vessel and Ishmaela. That's where we're going, me and Tommy. Strange, isn't it? Small world. And you know what else I hope to do while I'm over there? I hope to get a flight to Moscow for a couple of days. I want to see Moscow. I'd love to get there, see it. I don't think I'll ever have the chance again, because it's very rare that I go to Turkey. Turkey teeth, what do you use that like? Dentist Frank, don't forget 2:30. What do you mean? What? What's that 2:30? Getting your teeth done. Hey, you, Karen, getting your teeth done in Turkey. Do you need them done, by the way? Craig Farrer met me in person, so it'll be nice to meet up with you in September. I'm taking my son Kai, as he is now 18. He was born the 25th of the 5th, 2005. That's exactly 2 weeks after my birthday, because I was born on the 11th of May. How about that? All coincidences. I can't even say the bloody word. Very coincidental, thank you. I think I'll have to get turkey teeth so I can pronounce the words. What are you like? What did he say? What was the end of it? Can't write the script for that, Frank. No, you can't. You can't. Karen Karayaku, turkey teeth. Says Edna Edmonds. That's fantastic. That's strange, though. That's strange. As Lynella says, hope it cools down in Turkey for you, Frank. Do you know what? I went away with my ex-partner once. I was in Sardinia. And anyway, we went to the beach. Sardinia is a lovely place, white sand, you know. So anyway, we got on the beach, and she said, "Do you want somewhere after someone, you know that thing you put on? Factor, it's some factor, isn't it? Whatever it is." And I went, "No, I'm all right. I've got skin like a rhino. I don't need it on." That night I was in bed for 2 days. Sunstroke. Shaking. That was me. Oh, so that's a good memory, by the way. It really is. Tommy will come back with turkey teeth, but I don't even know turkeys. That I wonder if the beagles are. I wonder if they've got any teeth. The beagles. What's that? 2:30. Oh, get worse. Lynn Ellis says, you would love Australia and New Zealand, Frank. Yeah, but to be honest, I don't like long haul. I've been invited over to America by people, even Hollywood. I've been invited over there. And I said to Chris and Dilly, I've just confirmed your thing. I've just confirmed it. I've got to confirm this other fellas as well. It's another fella. So I've just confirmed you're a friend, so you're a friend now on the thing. Be able to watch everything. No matter what they say, all department stores were the best. I love Woolworths, even more so. The pick and mix sweets used to get a bag full of them when I was younger. Yes, we all did. We all did. Off for a coffee. Chat later, guys. Take care, says Chris and Dilly. Welcome, Chris. Don't forget, I've just confirmed you. Okay. Just confirmed you, friend. Stephen Snape, it's a blessing that Albanians don't specialise in orthodox. Frank. They couldn't misinterpret the spoken words, but just imagine the pronunciation with different teeth. It's mind-boggling. Oh, coincidences. Oh, it's just lovely. Karen says, bye, Chris. That's lovely. That. Thank you, Karen, for Chris. And cheers, Frank. As you are a historian, I will send you info of my ancestry. I'm not a genealogist. Oh, that's great. Thank you anyway. Thank you. It's been mad tonight, hasn't it? It's been really good. I've not half enjoyed it. Really have, because if you've got something to like chat about, especially history, and especially the wonderful, really, and I'm talking about the comments. The comments are absolutely brilliant. And Edna Edwards says, good night, everyone. By the way, Frank, your teeth look lovely. Thank you. So I don't need turkey teeth. Turkey teeth. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love it. I really love it. And Lynn says, good night, Edna. That's lovely, that, by Lynn Ellis to Edna. I just want to, you see, Frank, I'm letting you know fact. You've been hacked so many times. I'm sending you a friend request too. It's just so you know, it's defo me. He's Mark Kinnis. Okay, Mark, I'll confirm it. I will do. Edna says, definitely not. Says, I don't know. Definitely not. By the way, your feet look lovely, as she said. You've got better teeth than me, Frank. They're not false either, you know. Honestly, they're not false. I don't know where this is going, this young, you know. I just don't know where this is going. I've got no hair, Frank, but I've still got my own fillings. Yeah, I've got one of this in here. Tooth. A tooth. I remember I was in a class and this lady, she always brought these sweets in. And I couldn't like refuse. She always give me that. Anyway, I took one. And it was about to start the class. So I said, I'll have to crunch this. And I went, broke me head, shattered me tooth. Shattered me tooth. And I never eat boiled sweets. And you wonder why. That's talking about pick and mix. Do you know what? When I had the operation, the week before when, not the week before, the year before last, just on 2 years ago, whatever they throw in your mouth, you know, when you're out, whatever they throw in your mouth, they knock me tooth. And at least in this one here, it wasn't loose at the beginning. It was just over time, like last year, it became very loose. Anyway, I've still got the tooth. It just fell out. It fell out. So I went to the dentist and I said, here, I said, screw that back in. So they took an x-ray and they said, no, because the stump is still there and it really will be painful if you take it out and then do the thing to screw it in. So anyway, they did a bridge for me, actually. And it was a private dentist because my dentist, I think they went back to India or somewhere. And it cost me 660 quid. So beware. Beware. And as our Francine says, she said, go over to Turkey, Dad. You can take me with you. You can have an holiday. I said, I don't want to go to Turkey. I just want to get it done here. I think I could have got a full set for that. Marquette says, that was May's sweets, Frank. Yeah, it was May. It was in May's. Yeah, it was May's sweets. Why did you tell us you were off to Turkey? I couldn't resist the teeth line. I have nearly wet myself at the comments. Awesome. Great showing. That's what I'm here for. I don't know where it's going. It's what I'm talking about nowhere and everything. It's just nuts, isn't it? Just lovely nuts, that's all. Thanks for hosting solo, Frank. It's a juggling act. Trying to adhere to the topic and air our comments. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. I'll see you tomorrow, Frank, for all the well-read interaction. I've got a fella on Jamie Phillips on Thursday, but tomorrow night I've got Tommy Batty, as I said. I have Marios Manzos and George Scott tomorrow night. I'm going to be talking about everything. Everything, stay, everything. I think you'll like it tomorrow. Because I think the title is, have we finished buying? Is this it? Something like that. I went to see a Chinese dentist once, Phil Ling. Phil Ling. But he's been trying to make that up for hours. Cheers, Chris. Lynn Ellison, winding down now. Good night, Frank and everyone. Same time next week, yes. Same time next week. It's been a horrible day, hasn't it? You know, so yeah. And thanks for tuning in tonight. Tell you what, Frank, 2 hours away. 2 hours always goes quick. Great show as always, including Jason. Take care to you all. Says Mark Kennis. Thank you, Mark. You're a good man. And Jin Lynn. Good night, Lynn Ellis. I thought that was another Chinese joke for a minute when you first look. There's our lovely Karen. Thought you were going, Chris. She just laughed. As you do. I knew Ray Ling, he was a Chinese fence. Say Stephen. I remember, honestly, I'm not talking about years ago, and went to a Chinese, and I wanted it. I wanted to try chopsticks. So you can imagine. And I had this, never forget it, I had the silver grey suit on. Silver grey waistcoat, shirt and tie. But the collar was loose, you know. And the Chinese. You can imagine. The cleaners had a field day cleaning my suit. And again, chopsticks. That's trying to, you know, if you know what I mean. Us Yorkies are just as mad as Scousers, mate. That's why we get on so well, says Chris. I'm doing. Great show as always, Frank. Take care. Good night, says Charlie. We'll see you tomorrow night, Charlie, on the podcast. And night to all, says Stephen Snape. And that's me now. That's me done. I just want to say a big thank you to Jason for producing the show, but also a massive thank you to Gap Painting Services. Really, Gap Painting Services is a credit to everybody, especially OAPs, especially there it is, domestic and commercial painting and decorating, time-served tradesmen. These are fully insured lads, fully insured. They're smart, they're clean, put everything back. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant decorators, that's all they are. And OHP, NHS workers, great, great. Believe me, I'm not just saying it because they sponsor this show. Great discounts for those people. Oh, there's Andy there. Could you ever mention that? Charlie, well, great show as always. Thank you, Charlie. Night all, says Stephen. And there's look at that. I didn't even see that there. Honest to God, I didn't. See you soon, Frank. Shame it's not in Turkey. Pity. Was in the Aldi before and a lady smiled at me. Couldn't help but notice she had a lovely summer teeth smile. Somewhere blue and somewhere black. I'll get my coat. Oh, it's just not. Karen says, awesome show, great chat. Love the clips of my chuckle muscles are aching. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. And Chris Dilly says, I work in BT call centre and we have a centre in Great Cross Hall Street, yeah. Great Hall Street, yeah. Cross Hall Street, yeah. In Liverpool. So good night to you all. Thank you, Chris. Well, as I said, it's a great, thank you to Gap Painting Services for sponsoring the Frank Carlyle show. But most importantly, and I keep saying this, and I'll always keep saying it, for as long as you're here with me, it's only you that make the show going, or to keep the show going. And thank you so much. I'm just going to confirm Mark Kinnish, his friend request. So, Mark, I've confirmed you. And it's just for me to say, I'll see you all tomorrow night, all you football fans. I'll see Andy Gamble and Ishmael if he stays there for the next 6 weeks until I see him. And I'll see you all next Monday for all you history lovers. So, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Old Hall Street. I'm in Frank C's kid. Thank you so much, everyone. See you all next week. And all you football fans, see you tomorrow night on the podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you.